I wonder if you could start off by taking me back to your first conversation with Sean Penn about making the movie.
Wow. Let me remember that. I remember being on the phone, actually, with Sean and talking about the first iteration of the script, which was very true to the book. The movie is based on a French novel, which was out in the 80s, and we both had the same feeling that we shared. Of like, we liked the characters, we liked the situation and the arc, the global arc, but we wanted to make it a more contemporary piece. So one of the things we focused on when we got started together is actually to reproduce the situations in the modern world, which is the 2000s, 2010s years, not the 70s, not the 80s. And well, the world has evolved. It's not necessarily to a better place, but the situation was still there. So we just made it more modern.
Yeah. Did it feel like you were combining French and American perspectives on empire and meddling with other parts of the world and things? And maybe since that book came out, maybe America has caught up a little bit with how people were feeling about that.
I don't know. I mean, I think we're still living in a world which is still in a way based on the colonies, the old colonial world. Africa, because it starts in Africa, is still struggling for the most part to get away from that, and we're still scavenging their resources as we did when there were colonies, which is a shame. And that's one thing which, although the movie's not a political statement, but I think it was interesting to see that we're still in that, and we're still playing with the well, not up-and-coming countries, let's say, but we're still not helping much.
Yeah. I mean, the movie isn't a political statement, but there are politics in it, and is that one of the things you think that differentiates it from other action movies that we've seen in recent years? What are the things that makes it stand apart, do you think?
Well, what's interesting to me when you make those movies is not to make action movies, just action for action's sake. I mean, what's interesting is to have a backdrop and a plot which is more complex and elevated than just guys killing each other for 2 hours. Yeah. That's not very fun. I mean, it's going to be entertaining, but if it's not justified by an interesting story, I'm not interested. So yes, even though it is not a political statement, it was interesting for us and for Sean to use a very real and very very dark, unfortunately, situation, and to go from there and have our characters evolve in a very realistic environment.
I mean, one of the things that told me straight away I was going to get more than just action is the cast. It's an incredible cast. So if we could talk a little bit about a couple of the key people. Firstly, just Sean and Javier, who are sort of come from opposite ends of the spectrum, but both brilliant in their own way. Why were they so perfect?
I don't know. I mean, what is very funny in the process, like when we start working with Sean and talk about the rest of the actors, is that we came up with the same names. And we had immediately the same wishes, the same needs for the guys who actually accepted to work with us. So what is interesting, if you want to elevate the action genre, let's say, you need a nice script and interesting characters, and to portray them properly, you need very, very high caliber actors. And that's what drew us to call Mark Rylance, for instance, who has never done action pieces, has done very little actually movies, but just more stage work. But he's such a fantastic actor that it was interesting to have him to play a part which you don't expect him to play. Yeah. And obviously he can do it very well. He can do anything. He's a chameleon anyway. But same thing for Javier. I mean, Javier comes from Spain, a completely different way of acting, different way, school of acting, different different background, and he can be a fantastic villain as well as he can be a very fantastic nice man. You never know. And what is interesting for all those characters is that you never know what you're going to get, because they can play multi-level characters and you don't quite know if you can trust them or not, and that's actually part of the movie.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Pierre. It's really
My
lovely.
pleasure.
Thanks very much.